John here. I hope you're doing great. I am here with my friend Harv Eker, and many of you have already read his amazing New York Times best-selling book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and it was a #1 New York Times bestseller within the first week. He has gotten just an amazing reputation helping people get their mindset right, and we're going to be talking a little bit about his Speed Wealth book that you're going to get a chance to get for free today. So hold on, and I'll show you how to do that. And we're going to be talking about something that Harv and I have in common, and we've been friends for probably about 15, 20 years. And we love talking about the inner game, the stuff that happens between the ears that really helps people achieve success. So let's get started. Harv, welcome, my friend.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me on your little show here. It's awesome.
I love it. It's awesome. Now, you and I have known each other for many, many years, and obviously we play in the same circles and have a lot of the same methodologies for really teaching people. You've got some unique angles that you like to take. That's why I wanted to have you on today. I want to ask you a question. I know many years ago, part of your story is you were broke, you weren't doing great, you became a millionaire in, I think, less than 4 years or so, and you got into this passion of teaching people, and so far I think you're over 2 million students that have followed your work, and so you're teaching some stuff that people need to hear. Like, what is it that really got you into making a difference in people's lives and helping them?
Well, I guess struggle is a good teacher, and I suppose I don't know if everybody knows this, but I actually went through 10 different businesses and 12 different jobs in 10 years. And I couldn't make it anywhere. I came out of school thinking that, I'm just going to be successful, get rich, the usual thing, but it wasn't working for me. And I started getting very, very depressed after the 4th business in a row went down the tubes. And I remember lying, I was now living at my parents' condo in Florida because I couldn't afford any rent. I was lying in their back patio on a lounge chair, and I was after my 4th business, as I said, had gone down the tubes, and I was crying, and I didn't even know what was going on. I was just looking up in the sky, and it just hurt me so badly that I just looked up to spirit, to God, and whatever you want to call it, and I said, universe, I swear to you that if somehow I make it, I promise you I will help other people do the same thing. And because I know what it feels like to work your ass off, learn, try your best, do everything possible, and it's just not working. And it's a drag. And I was not only frustrated, I got to be honest with everybody, I was embarrassed. I was, here was this guy that I thought was a pretty cool guy. I mean, and I was not bad and everything. And I just didn't even want to go out anymore because people say, well, what do you do? Well, right now, nothing again, because I just blew up another business, or I just lost my other job, or it was a very, very tough time.
So for those of you that are watching right now, for those who just joined, I'm with Harv Eker, good friend of mine. And how many of you resonate with what Harv has just said? You're working really hard. You're trying to make things work, and it's just not happening fast enough. If it is, hit the like or the love button and let us know that we're on the right vein and the right thread. So if you're enjoying this and this is something that speaks to your heart, just hit the like or the love button right now. Harv, I've got a question to ask you, because you and I have discussed this, in the past, and that is, everybody's working hard. Everybody is busy doing stuff, yet very few people actually achieve the success that they dream of and they have in their head as to what they want to achieve. So what have you found is the reason behind that? What's the problem here?
Well, we can start with a couple of things and then go into a specific formula that I found keeps it real simple. But, I think a lot of people, first of all, they have, as you know, and we both teach, they have a lot of negative / non-supportive beliefs and thoughts around money, and particularly wealth. And I have to say something to everybody right now, and especially, I'm sure you'll have your own thoughts on it, John. But, today, based on the last, let's say, 8 to 10 years of political elements in our society, wealth has gotten a bad name. It's gotten a bad rap. Rich has gotten a bad rap. Everybody who's rich is greedy and bad and corrupt, and that's what the narrative says. And we had a political situation before whereby, again, if you had money, you're one of the, the 1% that's the bad people that's holding everybody else back. And now with the new political situation, it's gone the opposite extreme. And, people are looking at, oh my God, this is even, it's like just as bad. So it's like people don't know what to think and what to turn around money anymore. And it's really unfortunate, because I think everybody, first of all, has to recognize that money is just literally just some coins and some paper. It's nothing until you make it something, right? You give meaning to everything. And I think that the idea that, so a lot of people have negative thoughts, negative ideas around money, and especially wealth. They think that, it's like people actually hide the fact that they're doing well now, so that their friends don't diss them and things. So that's the first thing that you've got to recognize. I believe, and I'm sure you do, that money's a really, really, really good thing. Okay, it's fantastic, but it doesn't mean that it has to run your life. Right. Money shouldn't run your life. You have a balance and everything, but also you can do a lot of good things with money that you can't do without it. So you need to think about that. And that's the first thing. And then the second thing here is that what I like to do is I like to break things down very, very, very simply. There's only three. How many? Three key elements in a formula for success. And if you miss any one of these three things, you will work really hard for really long and not do very well. Let me just basically express the three things.
Do it.
RV, you have to be in the right vehicle at the right time. RY says you have to be the right you. And RK says you have to have the right knowledge. Those are the three key elements.
So hold on one more time. Somebody do me a favor, type these into the chat right now, just so we know that you're listening and hearing and paying attention. So RV, somebody type in RV is right vehicle. RU is the right you. And then the third one?
Actually, it's RY. Did I say RU?
Right you.
RY, right. And the third one is RK, right knowledge.
Right knowledge. So maybe we could break those down into, you talk about the right you, right? Well, what does that mean? Why is the right you so important?
Well, it's just as we just talked about before, people have beliefs, thoughts, etc., around money, success, wealth, work, all those different type of things. And, the right use is just basically your thoughts, your habits, your character, all right? Who you are as a person. And, there's a saying that says, fortunately or unfortunately, you take yourself with you wherever you go. So people think, oh, I'll just do this, or I'll just do that, or that didn't work. I'll do it. But the problem is, and we don't have a lot of time to get into it, but I always thought if I got in the right business at the right time that everybody else was doing well with, I would do well and I would skyrocket to success. And I got to tell you, John, I tried that for a decade and it didn't work. And the reason it didn't work is because there was one element of this formula that was stopping it. And it was me. It was how I thought, who I was. I wasn't keeping my word. My character was, I just wasn't a strong character. I let fear overcome me all the time. I thought I was working hard when I wasn't. I was more into partying and playing and my freedom. I want my freedom. And there's a time for that, by the way. So I just wasn't the right mindset, the right habits, and the right character for success. And as you and I both teach, wealthy and successful people have different ways of thinking than unsuccessful people. And you have to, and why is that important? Because we both teach a formula that says basically your thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results. So basically your thoughts are the predecessor of your results. So if you want a different result, you have to start by thinking differently. And most people don't even know how they think in a way that is detrimental to their success because we're too close to the forest to actually see the trees.
And yeah, I agree with you. They've developed and we've developed, habits of thinking and habits of emotions and habits of behavior. And that consistently, creates the same results over and over again. One of the things you mentioned before that I want to just dive into is you said the right vehicle. Are you talking about the right vehicle as far as a career, business? What specifically do you mean by right vehicle?
Yeah, and just think about, a race car and a driver. Okay, so you've got to be the right driver for sure. But if you don't have a race car that is going to go the speed you need to speed to win, right, to go as fast to win, it's just not going to happen. So most people are actually driving jalopies. They're in a business or in a career situation that doesn't have the legs, it doesn't have the engine to really go at a high speed and go for long term and create the winning formula, the winning situation. So what I mean formula is I do mean the right business, the right career. And I want to say this right now, and people are going to say, well, not everybody's cut out for that. And I get it. But let me just say this to everyone straight up. If you want to do well with money, you don't have to have your own business. You don't. Okay. You can do well with money by earning a decent amount, managing it properly, investing it well, and you could do well. However, the chances of you actually creating wealth, what's the word? Wealth. I mean, lots of money. I mean, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 million dollars, like a lot of money, okay, is very slim unless you run the show and unless you are paid based on your results, your performance. It's very hard, unless you're the CEO of Google or somebody, and they started, very hard to get paid a salary, get paid for your time and earn enough money. And the reason there's many reasons for that. So the key there is because you've broken wealth rule number 1. And wealth rule number 1 says no limits on your income. No limits on your income.
Somebody type that in right now. Said rule number 1, wealth rule number 1, no limits on your income. Come on, let me see you, type it in. And if you like this, hit the like or the love button right now. So wealth rule number 1, no limits on your income. And that obviously is a change in mindset. And some people are probably, sitting there right now saying, what do you mean no limits on my income?
Yeah, because if you are being paid for your time in any way, shape, or form, I don't care if you're a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, a professional, a massage therapist, an employee. If you are paying for your time is what? It's limited. And therefore your income is what? Limited. And you have broken that rule. It'll be very hard for you to create wealth. So number 1, I encourage everyone to consider being in their own business. And you don't have to start big right away. What I always say is start small, think big, okay? But start small so you can get your lessons in a small scale and you don't blow your whole self up right away. So that's the first thing. So number 1, I would encourage people to consider their own business. And number 2, I have an analogy that I use that's basically said, what vehicle should it be for you? It has to fit you, but it also has to fit the marketplace. So it has to be where your head and your heart and your hands all meet. Let me say that again. Your head, your heart, and your hands meet. All right? So what does that mean? Your head, what do you know? Your knowledge, what do you really know, okay, about this vehicle? Your heart, do you love it? Is it you? Is it really what you want to give to the world? Does it mean something to you? Is it part of your mission? Is it a passion of yours possibly? And number 3 is your hands. Are you able to actually deliver the value that you promise? Are you actually to do it? Do you have skill? Can you improve that skill? So for us, we're teachers. And people think that, oh, you just naturally get up there and teach. Well, it's natural now, but when I first started, it wasn't so natural, right, John? Yep. So yeah, you have to develop your craft. You have to be good at it.
I love that. Yeah, a lot of people think, because it's easy for us now, that it always was easy. And at one time, you and I were both clumsy beginners also, whether it was clumsy beginners at business or clumsy beginners at writing a book or clumsy beginner at standing up on stage and teaching. It's a constant and never-ending improvement cycle. Yeah. And by the way, for everybody who's been watching, Harv and I have been talking about some of his philosophies and concepts. If you want his book, Speed Wealth, which is about 55 pages of just killer stuff, just type in the chat book, BOOK, and we'll send you an instant messenger and you can download it. It's free and it's absolutely excellent. There's a whole bunch of ideas and philosophies on how do you get to be wealthier faster. So just type in book right now. Harv, I want to back up.
Hey, John, can I interrupt? Can I ask your people to type in something there also?
Sure.
Okay, so based on what we were talking about, I want everybody to write in one of the things that is actually in the book, and it says, every master was once a disaster. Every
Let's get
master.
everybody to type in book first so we can get the book to them. It's free.
Yeah.
And then after that, once you finish typing in book, but every master was once a disaster. I love that.
Right. I don't care what it was. You know, one time I had I was doing a preview evening for one of my courses, and I was in Germany. And I said, every master was once a disaster. And this guy kept raising his hands. He was about, 35, 40. And he kept raising, I didn't know, like, stop raising your hand. I'm trying to teach here. And he kept throwing his hand. And I go, yes, sir. Can I help you? He goes, well, I don't usually talk at these type of things, and I don't actually usually come to them, but you struck a chord with me that I think I have to relate to people. And he says, I'm going to stand up so people can see me. And he stands up and people look at him. Turns out, I forget his name exactly, but he won the gold medal 3 years in a row in downhill skiing.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And he world champion. And everybody knew him right away. And he said, every master was once a disaster. On my first day on skis, I was with my face in the snow more than I was standing up, okay? Everybody needs to understand that. I was terrible, and all my friends were laughing at me, okay? So everybody needs to understand this. So you are, whatever you start, even now, even myself, I'm doing some writing right now on a new topic. It's terrible. It's going terrible. It's like, oh my God, like, have you ever written anything before? Well, evidently not, but I keep on working through it, and I go, oh, it'll get better. And yeah, you got to start. When you start, you have to understand you're not going to be good at the beginning. That doesn't mean you're not going to be amazing at the end. You just keep on working at that and getting better at that.
Well, there's another quote you just because you're not good at the beginning doesn't mean you're not going to be amazing at the end.
Right.
I told you, I hope everybody's getting this one point. And every time, I read a book, every time I go to an event, every time I interview somebody, every single successful person has accepted the fact that they will fail on their way to success. And they just take failure as a feedback mechanism to learn what's working and what isn't, and to move forward. So for any of you that are thinking that success is a straight line up, you need to shift your awareness around that. You need to shift your belief system around that, because that's not the way that it works.
Yeah, I always talk about the pattern is a zigzag. It's zigzag your way to success. So it's kind of like, all over the place. And John, everybody uses something different. I don't want to fail, and I don't like to fail. So I don't use the word fail. And a lot of people do. And it motivates them. It motivates them. Say, I'm not going to fail, whatever. I'm not strong enough to handle that word. So I just say, I just always never thought that. I always just said, oh, this isn't working all that well. What do we need to do and improve it? Or this, this business isn't working all that well, or this situation is not working all that well. What do I need to do to improve it? I never really took it as, that word just never worked for me. So I just want to offer your people another alternative, because I know you don't really use it all that well either, but a lot of people use it in their books. Fail on the way to success. I think that's icky. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I just look at it in general and go, okay, it's not working as well as it could be right now. Okay, what do I need to actions I need to take to improve it? And I do it. And if it doesn't work, I try something else. As simple as that.
But how many of you can adopt that philosophy of thinking? If you can, type in, Harv, yes, I can. Because one of the things you will discover with any expert, they'll share with you philosophies that they've used to propel themselves forward. And most people don't have the right philosophies. They don't have the right meanings that they give things, which cause them to be disempowered. And that's really a lot of the work that Harv does. And for those of you that just joined us, we're talking about some of the material that's in Speed Wealth. It's a new book that Harv has got. You can get it by just typing in book. We'll send you a link to your instant messenger. Just type in book and you'll get it. It's about 55 pages of some great stuff. Harv, I want to digress for just a moment. On the zigzag path to success, there's going to be highs, lows, ups, downs, feedbacks that you don't like. And where I want to take this is around the emotional fortitude, the resiliency that's required to succeed. You've taught over 2 million people. And is that one of the keys between the ones who really make it and the ones who don't?
I think that's probably the biggest one. I mean, literally, people call it persistence or determination, or I call it a single-mindedness. So one of the things in the courses that I teach is we have an exercise that has people up on a rope, actually, really high, but they're all tied in and everything. They're walking a rope, and it's out in the woods. It's really cool. And we put this target in front of them. It's a big target, like a dartboard, and it's held up in front of them. And they need to look at that target. But as soon as they move their eyes away from the target, which is usually looking down, the target goes away. And now they have to struggle and wait there literally for a full minute before the target comes back. And they go, what the heck's this all about? And it really ingrains in the fact is that if you want to succeed, you have to focus on the target, not on what's around it. You have to focus on listen closely, everybody. Focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. 90% of people focus their daily moment-to-moment thoughts and are on what they don't want. The fears, the issues, the problems. If you don't want those problems, don't focus on them. Keep focused on what you want. So for me, I never really thought, believe it or not, I shouldn't even say this, but I never really thought that much about the money part of it. For me, success was very important. And getting the information out that worked for me finally out to people was very important. And I knew and I felt that the money part of it would just come in. And man, it really did. And it really has. But so I always just was, how can I get this message out to more people? How can I get more people in the room? How can I create more programs that will help more of these people? What do they need next? I never really thought about, I'm not making enough money and, I need to, this problem and that problem. Everything was just, all right, that's what's happening. Go ahead and correct. And one of the things we were talking earlier about that is, I have another saying and people have to understand is that, correct and continue. Correct and continue. Don't take everything so personally. Don't make it a 10-year process. Listen, this isn't working. Move on, make a change, and go for it. And get in the game. Stay in the game. When a baseball batter is up at the plate, okay, and he misses that first pitch, and he sees the type of pitch that that pitcher is throwing. He misses the first, he misses the second, he makes a correction. He doesn't go, oh, I'm terrible at this. This isn't working. I should have never done this. My uncle was right. It's ridiculous. Just make the correction and go for it. If that doesn't work, go for it again. That doesn't work, try a different strategy and go for it. Eventually, it will come to fruition. But you've got to keep on correct. I
love it. It's interesting you say, you use the baseball analogy. In any sports, to become a Hall of Fame player, chances are you're missing, 7 or 8 out of 10 attempts. And so you become a Hall of Famer by making only 2 or 3 out of 10. And that's the one thing that a lot of people don't realize, that it doesn't matter if it's your health, wealth, relationships, career, business, or money. You're not going to succeed every time, but you have to keep going, which I love. The one thing that I wanted to come back around to earlier, I made a little note over here around the second part or the third part of the formula, which is the right knowledge. And a lot of people confuse activity with productivity and being busy with doing the right things, and they're not seeing results that they want. Talk a little bit more about the right knowledge.
Yeah, there's a lot of different kind of knowledges, but there's 2 kinds that everyone needs to have. Number one is called general business knowledge. And the second one's called specific business knowledge. So general business knowledge, what's that? In every business in general has a set of rules and a set of principles that everybody has to live by, okay? And if you don't understand certain elements of business, for example, marketing, and sales. You don't have to do the sales, but you have to understand the sales, okay? Marketing and sales and negotiations and management and finance, understanding how to read numbers in the books, some critical elements that pertain to all businesses. My friends, if you don't take your energy effort to understand that and get knowledge, you're doomed. You're doomed. It's like a skier who doesn't know how to turn. Okay, well, I'm a good skier, but I don't know how to turn. No, you can't be. You're just going straight down. You've got to carve. You've got to turn. If you don't know how to turn, if you don't know how to get your weight on that downhill ski, you're doomed. Okay, it's fit. You have to know that. So there's elements that pertain to every business that you have to know. I'm going to say this right now. The number one reason, in my experience, most people don't do well in their business is they're poor marketers. If you don't market well, nobody's coming to see you or to hear you or to get your message or to look at your value. And then so they're not going to hear about it, so they're not going to buy it. It starts there. You have to be able to get people, invite people to, hey, have a look at what I've got. Okay. Simple as that. And then the second kind of knowledge is business specific knowledge. So now that you are in a specific type of business, you've got to know that business specifically from the inside out. And you've got to become not good at that and not great at that. You've got to become, and what I say to my students, John, is, are you the best in the world at what you do? And they go, well, of course not. Okay, well, that's why you don't earn that kind of money. Okay, if you want to earn the best, if you want to get paid the best, you got to be the best. If you want to get paid second best, you can be second best. But like John and everybody, he's the best in the world at what he does. And I work very, very hard and diligently at being the best in the world at what I do. I don't try to be, oh, I'm good at this or I'm okay with this. No, I try to hone my skills and my understanding of this business specifically to be the best in the world. And I'll just say this right now. If you become one of the best in the world, the money will be an afterthought because you will be so freaking rich, you won't even know what to do with it. And money is a result. Wealth is a result, okay, of what you deliver to people, but you can't deliver it if you're not great at what you do. So John and I are both in the training business and in the writing business, et cetera, and in the teaching business. And look at the way John handles this platform here. Okay. He's a master at what he does. It gets better and better, but he knows how to do this. Okay. And he worked at this. He didn't just wing it one day, says, I'm just going to get on Facebook or I'm just going to get on in front of the stage. You work at it. You become great at it.
Well, you know, what's interesting is as you were talking about that, one of the models that I teach is, and this goes in your career as well and in business, it's not your boss that pays you. It's the marketplace that pays you based on how good you are. And the same is true with business. It's the marketplace that pays you based on how good you are. And if you want to play the game of your career or business at the kindergarten level, you're going to get paid at the lowest level of income possible. If you want to play, at the pro level, even at the pro level, there's ranges of income. And then there's the Hall of Fame, and then there's the MVPs and the all-star team as well. And so you've got to decide what level you want to play at, and then determine what are, as Harv said, what's the right knowledge that you need? What's the right vehicle for you? What's the right, what was the third one, Harv, that we talked about?
Well, right
vehicle and the right you, which is your mindset. And if you don't have those three things, you'll do okay, but you're not going to do great. And a lot of people want to do great and live an extraordinary life versus an ordinary life.
Yeah, so I was just saying this. We had our meetings down here, and for some reason, this quote came up for me. I said we've got to use that quote more because it was by Abraham Lincoln. And remember, Abraham Lincoln was asked. He said something like to the fact of, if you had an hour to chop down a tree, what would be your strategy? He said, the first thing I do is I spend the first 50 minutes sharpening my axe. And that's the thing, people. It's like, do you actually practice your skills in your business? Do you practice it? How great are you at that? Well, look at any baseball player, football player, skier, but what do they do before the performance? They practice hours and hours and hours. An Olympic athlete has one shot at it, a skater, whatever, and they practice for 4 years, 12 hours a day, every day of the week. Do you?
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
Right.
Right? So everybody, we're talking with Harv Eker. If you want a copy of his awesome short book, Speed Wealth, about 55 pages of just awesome content, just type in book, B-O-O-K. Don't type anything else in there. You're going to get an instant messenger from us. Just fill out the form there, and you get a free copy of it. Harv, I want to dive back for just a moment on something that you're again, if not the best in the world, one of the best in the world at, and based on your New York Times bestselling book, you really dive deep into the mindset of a millionaire. What is the mindset of a millionaire? What is she thinking about? What is she doing to become a millionaire? And what is he doing as well?
Well, I think, again, the first thing is there's many ways that rich people think differently than broke people at the time. But the first thing is, I always just say the first thing is clean out the stream, okay? I have a stream in front of me right now where I'm in the mountains right now doing some writing. I have a beautiful stream, but I noticed that right now it's running very slow. And I'm running 2 months ago was really fast. I went outside to look at it yesterday, and sure enough, there's all kinds of, excuse my language, crap in the stream now. All these rocks have fit in, these twigs are all over it, the branches are filling. It's running really slow. So, a lot of life, everybody, is they say, well, go with the flow. And, life is a flow. And I'm going to say this right now, you may not believe it, but I'm going to say success is pretty natural. It's just pretty natural that if you want something and you're going towards it, you just get there. So what's the problem? It's the red lights. It's the yellow lights. It's the stopping. It's the muddiness. It's the unclarity. It's the not sure. It's the doubt. It's the fear. It's all the crap that you throw into your stream of success. So if you just take it straight up ahead, it said T. Harv Eker and John Affra say success, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it is simple and it is straightforward and it is flowing. In the same way that I could get up right now and you could get up from your chair wherever you are and you can say, I'm going to walk over there 10 yards and you just walk over there. No fuss, no muss. That's the way success is. If you learn what to do, you follow the principles that I've talked about and the ones in the book, and you do that, then everything else is just the crap that you continuously put in your way. Focus on cleaning out the crap, and trust me, your life will just begin to flow. And you go, why was I doing all this stuff to myself?
Love it. It's funny, Harv, as you're saying that, here's a picture of me in Telluride just a couple of days ago by the stream where I was just sitting and doing some things. I'm finishing up my new book that comes out next year.
Nice.
I was just there. So I was in Telluride. Harv's in Lake Tahoe right now writing his new book. All right, everyone, we're at the bottom half of the hour right now. If you've enjoyed this, hit the like or the love button. Give some feedback to Harv. And if you want to get this book for free right now, just type in book into the comments and look for a link in your instant messenger and we'll get that to you. Harv, thank you, my friend.
Let me just say one more thing. When people get the book, it's really important that you do the steps in order. There's 8 principles. You have to do them in order. If you put, 6 before 4, it's not going to work. It is a system. It is a system for becoming a millionaire or more wealth in, believe it or not, 3 years or less. It's exactly what I did. It's exactly what I do. It's exactly what thousands and thousands of my students have done and are doing. And it is a step-by-step, 8-step system, but they must all be in play. You can't miss one of them and expect to succeed. And you can't change the order. I did all that. I missed them. It didn't work. I was broke. I changed the order. It didn't work. I was broke. When I finally did all of them and I put them in the right order, everything changed for me. Everything has changed for me since then and for literally tens of thousands of my students. So I want to make sure you have that caveat. All 8 and in order, please.
Love it. And it's the same as a combination to a safe. If you've got the right combination, but you don't put it in the right order, you'll never open up the safe. So get the book. It's free. Just type in book in the chat. And thank you all for giving Harv a warm welcome here. Harv, I appreciate you, my friend. Look forward to maybe hitting the slopes with you this year.
That would be awesome. Thanks a lot. And bless you all.
Bye, everybody. Make sure you hit the like and the love button right now. Give them some love. All right, everyone? Arrivederci. Thanks, everyone. Bye, Harv.
Bye-bye.